And here we are. Woohoo! Something new. Yeah, now just audience, we're laughing because, we don't have anybody helping us with the tech and the programming and the changes. Like every single day there's something new to learn. Oh dear. Anyway, welcome to another fantastic round, another Spontaneous Combustion, part 2. Today we will be opening up the channel so we can have guests come in and share with us their crazy thoughts, their speculations, their theories, their findings, their experiences. So, and we have a couple of rules to do with that. That is, please respect each other. That's their experience, not yours. If you have similarities, happy to share. We don't name names. We just share experience. So, with that said, welcome to Roughshod Ramblings, and my best mate here on this side of the screen, or at Vibe 1111. How are you doing today?
Life is just interesting right now. I think with all the stuff that we've been trying to get done and do, it's just been really interesting. I don't know how else to say it. It just seems like weird stuff is just like everywhere. What did it take? Hey, Susan, what did
Welcome,
it?
She was there and then she was gone.
Kind of like me earlier, because I'm getting calls on here and on the phone, and Stone's going, "Hey, where'd you go?" Yeah, it's been a ride, and then you had to reset everything up, and
Hey, Susan, good to see you, honey. How are you?
She's in the dark.
She's Susan. We can see you, but you have frozen. So, but you are not there at the moment. All right, welcome everybody. Okay, it's been absolutely hectic. So I don't know. I felt a shift. There has been a frequency shift for sure. It's just like all of a sudden everything's getting easier. It's like I'm back into the mode of downscaling, moving stuff out that I don't need anymore. Getting rid of the old baggage that doesn't serve me anymore. So it's like, okay, well, I've reset my goals. I know what I want to achieve. I know when I want to achieve it. I had these goals before, but we fell off the wagon a little bit because of all of this other energy that was coming in that had nothing to do with us in the first place. And I from where I'm sitting, I have seen several people go through the same energy output. This is what we were sharing yesterday about how intense it has been. And I say I felt it start at least 4 to 5 months ago. It kicked in, and it had nothing to do with me. It had to do with exteriors coming in on an emotional connection. And from there, it just went, wow. But I had epiphany after epiphany by being able to share these encounters with these people, these persons, these energies that I had. I feel like I had the privilege to know for a long period of time, because I don't like people. I tend to leave. So some of them are okay. Yeah, okay. We click. So it's very interesting to see. And there's the other uptake that I've noticed in the last 24, 48 hours is the amount of sightings. Now, I'm going to say it very clearly. Because of personal experience and years of it in a row, to be able to test my findings, not alone, but with witnesses and footage, those orange plasma spheres, luminous orbs, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to label them, love or seem to show up around fireworks. It's like they are trying to grasp why we play with fire. That is my concept. I had a message came through to me in regards to somebody from the same location that I used to live in, and they're posting their stuff up. Prior to that, I had met someone else who was in the same location, and we've become good friends, sharing, similar encounters and this sort of thing. So I'm hoping he comes along today. But now people in my local vicinity are finding the balls, the courage, to step forward and say, yeah, actually, I did have this experience. This is what I'm seeing. When this other person came forward today and said, this is what it's like, and I asked them, was it like a cluster, and sent my information over to them. So, and it's the same thing in the same location. So these things are coming back out now. They're coming down in mass. I've been seeing these spheres since we tried to work it out this morning. We were seeing them before 2000, but we only really woke up to the fact that they were there in our presence all the time, and that's when we started to interact with them. Would have been around 2005. 2010, it was full on. So we're looking at anybody else who had those experiences around this time. The whether it was chaotic drama to, sometimes we need that chaotic shift. It'll make us move. They say that when we're boxed in a corner, we either cow down, lay flat on the floor, and wait for whatever it's going to be, right? Don't panic. It's easier if you don't. And then the other one is suddenly our brain kicks in, or so we sprout wings, or we know one of our senses or our abilities kick in. When we're trapped in a corner, magic happens. All right. Now, we don't need to be trapped in a corner for that to happen. We can feel it. We can sense it. It's here. It's now. The sun came out on the 1st of November for me. It was like this had been an extended period of winter, cold, cold, cold. I mean, I'm still sitting here in a blanket. And it's spring. The sun came out this morning, and it's like it feels like a nice spring day, but it's still chilly. So we're watching the weather, we're watching the animals, we're watching the success of the goals being achieved, and what an uplift in energy that is. But at the same time, I'm being cautious. I'm keeping careful, because the amount of conversation and information that we've come out recently and shared, I always live in a hypersensitive state. My brain is like working. I'm the one with the eyes in the back of my head. What'd you say? I can hear voices in frequency, and the disturbances are picking up. The other day, yesterday morning, I think it was, if I recall correctly, this week, I'd just gone to sleep. And I saw this emanation of this woman, and all I could really say was, if I had to look at something, if I had to describe something as a divine energy, or that's the sense that it showed itself as. But my personal reaction was, I sat up and said, what the shit was that? Okay, like, what was that? That was not what I have seen and experienced before. And the energy did not feel safe for me. I did not. Now, this is the thing. When people talk about dark energy and light energy, and what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's bad, it's the intent behind it. At the end of the day, it's the intent that goes into it. What is it that's trying to be accomplished through the words that are used, the body language, the tonality, the energy put in? When we start breaking down all of these things, we go, okay, our brains start to work faster. We start solving problems. We start with our own problems. There's a lot of ways to start with solving your own problems. The first thing is, as a navigator, to recognize that there is a problem or an issue in the first place. And how do we come about that? Well, we see that there is patterns. If we repeat something 2 to 3 times, we need to take notice of it. Unless it is part of a designed self-programming routine, like getting up and doing your exercises at the same time every day. At one stage I used to do that just so I could get these exercises done. But now it's hey, welcome Susan, you're on camera. It's now more of a, I'll do it when I feel like doing it, because the body doesn't need to follow a routine. All right, and she's gone again. No, now she is upside down.
So I'm not sure what's going on, but I had to go in and look at the pairing for my channel. It does say that I'm streaming. It is public. It is on YouTube, but it is not showing that it's active right now. So I have no clue what's going on. So
Okay, let's
so
have a
there
look.
is something. Maybe I just have to. Here we go. Here we go. I got it. I had to like restart everything. It was showed like a whole bunch of people were there, but they were gone. I don't know.
Okay, well, everything's working in green at this end.
Susan's upside down. Why is Susan upside down?
I don't know, but I'm right side up. I am. When I'm looking at the video and I'm right side up, but when I look at it on YouTube, I'm upside down. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you're appearing upside down to us. Planetary shifts.
This is the bat impersonation.
No, I'm going.
Have you been out eating mosquitoes or something?
I'm going. You were up the right way earlier on.
Hey! There we go.
All right, you're back. Okay, welcome, Susan. How are you doing? We're just doing random chat at the moment, getting into the flow. It's good to see you. You're looking good.
I'm still upside down until I go out and come back in. Oh no, I'm right side up. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay, so I'm totally lost where we were at now. So, Ulrich, do you want to pick it up, and then we'll bring Susan in. You're on camera.
One of the things that you were talking about before, though, is like not all the stuff that we're encountering, and maybe some sadness, aggression. There's a whole bunch of really intense feelings right now. People feel the need to do something a little bit different or something vastly different. They're not happy. But they don't know how to go about fixing whatever it is. And you said, what did you say? It's like, you don't have to like physically, it's like there's a shift. And that's the word you used. It was the shift. And I'm sitting there thinking, this feels like more than just a shift. It feels like a spiritual and cosmic throat punch. And it's gonna catch your breath. It's gonna catch your attention, and it's gonna be different for everybody for whatever reason, that you're finding is gonna be relevant for whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just kind of feels like this is part of a crescendo. This is part of the amplification, and it's starting to really, really vibrate. And vibration is that frequency shift. Yeah, it's gonna shake some dookie loose.
Yeah,
feels like it's like, hey, are you still gullible? I'll send something similar to what you jettisoned out of your life 3 years ago. So but
you're gonna find out, because that's why you're not we're all thinking that we're all pretty chill and I know what's going on. And the next thing you know, you get that throat punch, because that happened to me. I couldn't tell you how many times. And stuff still seems to be popping up that it catches me off guard. And it's like, well, what is this? How do I even deal with this? Okay, I must have the skills somewhere. So I'm going to take my little chill pill or whatever I got and make it work. Just make it work.
Yeah, we have to. That's the whole thing. It's like, okay, recognize the feeling states, recognize what's going on, hear the voices. And recently, it's like you have to trust in yourself. You have to trust in all the telltale signs that are right there in front of you. All right, use your intent. Listen to what is going on. I mean, it's not there for no reason. You've done all of this work to get to this point. There's a lot of different types of creatures and parasitical entities, vampires, trying to suck the life out of all of us. All right, and it comes in human form. So when we start to see what they're doing to us and who's doing what, who's participating how, we stand up and say, hey, no, I know the power of no. You can go now. Move on. There's no room for you here. And watch that black goo just separate from that, because by us saying no to accepting other people's negative energy, we are also helping them release it. If they are willing to come to us with their BS, they are willing to take the consequences of releasing what it is that they have attached to them. That's all I can say.
Nah, I think you got a lot more in you.
Ah, shit. I feel like a balloon. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Why?
Exactly.
So what's going on with Susan?
Oh, I'm just tired. I'm just thinking they sent the malignant narcissist, then I got narcissist light. Now I got to clean up that mess, and yeah.
Yeah.
But you're aware of it now, right?
Yeah, I know it's something that you can't fix, and you just got to get rid of them. You just don't associate. Just done. Because they will continue to lie, cheat, and steal and parasite off you. They're vampires, basically. That's what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. To watch them play these games, it's like, and put yourself in the observer shoes and to observe everything that they're trying to do and accomplish. And yeah, at first it does trigger you. But we do need to be patient and take that step back, stay calm, analyze what it is that they've put there. You know, it's really quite interesting to watch the behaviors of not just humanity, but also the parasitical entities attaching themselves. Whether you want to call it demon, ET, parasitical, there is something else going on. And it's never worked for the best interest of us. But some people will think that they're going to get gold by joining forces with these parasitical entities. I've seen it for myself. It is real. It is very real. But when you see it, you know, in old text, it says name the demon. And I had a lovely conversation this morning with Susan. It's not about naming the demon. That's feeding it. It's about knowing that demon's tactics and being able to share the experience, the findings of how it behaved and what it did, how it triggered you, so that when these possessed entities come along, you can turn around and be able to identify what it is that you're working with. So you can turn around and say, thank you for the experience. You gave me confirmation. You gave me awareness. I needed that bit of wake-up call. We can't work together. You can bugger off. I'm going to go on my way. Thank you for showing yourself. Bugger off. You know, because at the end of the day, there's going to be nothing left for these parasitical feeders to feed off. Yes, lovely.
So that's really kind of I mean, we kind of giggle about that, but that little phrase. But do we know what it means?
Which one?
Most Americans don't know what bugger off means.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I mean, yes, they do, but they don't. When you tell somebody to do that, you're telling them to do typically what would be thought of as a homosexual act.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, mate.
Yeah, it's bestiality. It's
so. I'm just saying that sets a whole different tone and a lot more strength when people realize, I don't know, some people might actually want this. They might want to just bugger off.
Yeah, sheep shankers.
Oh, shit. So, like, what's a bunch of sticks called? You better look it up if you're not sure.
I heard bugger off and they would call them sheep shankers.
Oh, I love the energy. I love the energy. Okay, just a shout out to everybody who's in the room and watching. Hold on. If you feel like you can handle coming in and
we got to shift the energy, all right? We got to shift the energy.
Send out a message to us. You know where we're at, and if you'd like to come in and join, one of us will send you a link. So, Arizona, I can see you. and there's a couple of others I have emailed as well. Let's get this table rocking. You know, okay, this is and we don't need no Ouija board.
We are the Ouija board.
We don't need no candles because we're already on fire. All right, so
I was going to plug another SSP person, but I got Christy's book arrived yesterday.
Oh yeah, yep.
This is pretty. This is the first book I've seen Mina mentioned in there, and I'm on this page. I am S.
Oh yeah, darling.
Yeah, very good. Nice to trigger me, so I was thankful.
Well, if we're doing shout outs to people who've written books, I would like to do a shout out to my lovely long-term friend Nancy Tremaine, and she wrote the book, and we worked very hard and getting that out, and it is Symbiosis. Okay, it is a reptilian human love story, and there are parts in there that you are going to cry. There's parts that are going to tickle you pink in places you wouldn't even imagine. She is a fantastic writer, so do look her up. Her name is Nancy Tremaine, and she wrote Symbiosis. She has got a second one out there, but I'm not going to tell you about that until you've looked the first one up. So there you go. That's my darling shout out today. Auric, go on. I know who it is that you're gonna blow out there.
What?
Okay, go on.
Oh, I mean, you know, it was really that book that he wrote that started me on this journey. And you know, I talk to people face to face for my job, but get me in front of a group of people, forget it. I am the one in the back I am the one. I was the kid in school who wore the coat at the back of the room to escape and not be seen.
Yeah.
Not kidding you. Always wore the same like mundane clothes. I wanted to not be seen. Even when I was in music, I did not want to be up on that stage. Put me in the orchestra pit. So that was I don't know. I mean, you want to. Of course, I was first, but hide me. Don't put me in the front row. Put me in the back row. You'll hear me. So this is part of the healing process for me, is getting in front of this whole group thing. This is a little more sterile because it's just us three. I feel when I studied clinical mental health counseling, we had to do Zoom meetings, and there were like 20, 30 people. So you see all these little squares on the screen, and you had to discuss and talk about how to do a session. Yeah. And it was crazy because when you were paired with someone that you did not know, you had certain things you had to do and say and make it through that part of the session. But you saw all the blacked out squares. You felt them. You felt those people. That brought me back to the little kid who sat on that stage and got trippy freaked out.
Yeah.
So that's this. So that's why one of the reasons why I do this, because it helps me talk to a greater range of people on topics that you're not gonna typically hear this. You're hearing it more, that people are talking about these different things and experiences. I've had people tell me that, they're certifiable, and they're telling me some pretty similar things. Yeah. But there are behaviors that they take in society that makes it unsafe for them to not be in something going on. So it's the same stories. It's the same experiences. And it's one-on-one. So really, to kind of put that into perspective, hey, maybe we're all just nuts.
Well, we are. Which nut are you? I'm a walnut.
I'll go to Brazil. I'll do the Brazil.
I bet.
Brazil.
What are you, Susan? Are you a peanut? What type of nut are you?
Brazil nut. Is that the magnesium one?
Look,
yes.
you can't have two Brazil nuts. We've got a walnut and a Brazil nut. You have to be something else.
Oh.
And a peanut's a legume, so it's not a nut.
Pistachio. I like pistachios.
Well, you can make a lot of things with that. I make cheese and I make butter and I make milk with that. So,
Cashews.
And cashews. Oh yeah. Cashews are a really, really rich source of minerals, and you can do a lot with it. It's just like making yogurt. You can make yogurt out of all of these things. It's like we were taught to be in stuck states. We were taught to be mothers. You don't leave the house. You do your chores. You do your jobs. You clean all the sills. And when you come from both military, in some form of enforcement background, every sill has to be able to be wiped with a white glove. That's how I was taught. If the mother-in-law came in or the matron came in and she ran her white glove across the sill of any part of your belongings and she got dust on it, you was in the shit. So, the old ways have stuck with me, and it's like, for me, if you vacuum not just the sill, when you're vacuuming, right, you do right in the corners, you do right along the edges, but you also go around the sill. So when somebody steps into your house, it's the first thing they see is because they're always looking down where they're going to walk. They're not looking at you stepping through that door. They're walking through and looking at the ground. So when you think about the body languages and the programmings put together, It's whoever came up with this whole scenario, the whole psychological aspect of what our consciousness is capable of doing. They had to be a genius. You know, they had to put an aspect. I mean, if you create something, you are putting some of your energy into it. So whatever designed us and created us did the same thing. You know, we can go out there, you know, working in the lab. I loved it. My scientific brain wanted to go way, way further. But no, you have to get this certificate or that certificate. If you have a longing to learn something out there, there are ways that you can go out there and do it. Go and start off by volunteering, plant that seed in the ground and follow where it's going to go. Now, we were talking earlier about guardians and the powers that be and stuff and how they come in and you hear the voices and they direct you in different locations. You got to know that path of temptation. If you step too far off, you're going to turn to stone. You know, there's going to be something out there that's going to hold you back, you know, but we're always going to end up back on that same path. Where that path leads, I personally can't tell you 100%. I don't know, but I'm having fun now finding my way through to that path. You know, I had to turn everything that I had in my lifetime in my brain. I can hear your echo, Susan. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Little bit of feedback there.
Hey, I couldn't help that. Come on, take advantage of the situation. You know, it was only a little one. It's about, okay, seeing. I mean, we don't get to recognize what's right in front of us for a long time through our life. It's scenario after scenario after scenario, and we find our way through it. Right into being programmed into different job positions because your ancestor did that, so you have to do that too. It's in your blood. It's in your bloodlines. We expect it of you. You don't actually truly know what's going on behind the scenes. And if you do try to step out of that, you're put back in line pretty bloody fast. So it's like, okay, we can see what's going on around us. And we are stepping up and we're saying, hey, look, no, we want a better reality. A reality where, as a collective, we solve the issues and problems of everyday life, which will then extend. We did it again. I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that does that. You know, like
It's
when
easy to do.
we first go, you're
Yeah,
doing it again,
like
Susan.
the Fae are trying to talk behind me. What the frig? Sorry.
Oh dear, you've got to laugh at it. You've got to laugh at whatever scenario is thrown at you. Susan,
Like I plugged the thing back in. If I unplug it, okay, does it stop? Because I was charging it. Now it's not doing it. But when I
look,
plug the
look.
charger in,
What
it's
you
not
do
doing
about
it.
charging it up behind our backs, we don't need to know.
All
Well,
right.
watch. I'll plug the charger back in into the outlet, and it'll, because I'm at 659%. It'll start doing the warbling again. Watch.
It is doing it.
Yeah, I don't understand. Never
You
mind.
might
I'll just
have
leave
to
it unplugged.
just mute it when you're not talking.
Well, unplugged. It's okay right now. So
Okay. Well, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I'm hearing major echo.
right now, still.
Yeah,
Yep.
right now. Wait on, I'm turning you down. I've turned your volume down. Say something. I can't hear myself. That's working fine. Can't hear you either.
Yeah. So you would either have to mute yourself, or if you have an app that's open, or the only other way to get around it would be to use headphones.
You were good before. Yeah, you were good before. I don't know what changed. Say something. Can't hear you.
Okay, that's good, unless Susan's got something to say. Maybe
We can't hear you, Susan, mate. Nah, poof. It is what it is. She'll be back. She'll be back. All right, I've totally lost where we were at, and I just want to welcome the newcomers into the room. If you would like to come in and chat with us, with respect, we're just doing round table about whatever topic comes in, experiences. We do, like, you can give 5-minute intro about who you are, where you're from, what makes you tick, and how everything is flowing with you right now. All right, so if you want to come in, let us know. If we know you, we will, like, if you're on Oryx's channel, she will send you a link. If you are on my channel and are aware of me, I will send you the link. But love to chat. We're opening it up today. We're doing something new for ourselves. We're going to take that new step forward. So, Susan, come back when you're ready. And I've totally lost where I was at, so pick it up.
Just trying to figure out, kind of like what it is that's relevant and important for people to say. And I know it's really, really difficult to do. And I think circling back to what I said before, well, talking to Augie and reading the book online, and that was really expected to be a very short thing, but it ended up being, I think it took over a year to do, because there was so much deep discussion that came out of it about spirituality. And it wasn't just about spirituality, it was about manifesting positive things in your life. And well, that's just one of those things where it's good to have good things, and maybe people think of it as something that's greed. But when you truly honestly go through that process and you start seeing things manifesting for real deal, it changes you internally. There's your shift right there. And I had told him he reached out to me last week, sent me a text, because I haven't really talked to him in a long time. They do their Sunday afternoon thing, and I was like, I'm just been so crazy busy at home that I haven't been able to do it in a very long time. And but checking in and making sure that we still have those connections is important. But without him, the people like him, his book, and I did tell him that I was driving home from work. I'm only about less than 20 minutes. And I, all of a sudden, no reason that I was in forward thinking in my mind, because I'm kind of mentally, you try and strip all that stuff off you've had to deal with. And I had this overwhelming sense of gratitude that brought tears to my eyes. And you have this flood and you're flushed with all these things, feelings. And what my mind is telling me is, don't cry. You're driving and it's rush hour. You won't be able to see.
Yeah.
And while all that stuff is going on in the forefront of my mind, there's this dialogue that's going alongside of it, of this amazing gratitude. It was literally overwhelming, and it took everything I had to not have to pull off the side of the road, which would have been tough in the rush hour and where I was at and whatnot. But that kind of shift in and of itself doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It feels like it because all of a sudden, boom, it's in your face. But all that stuff that it had preceded was probably at least 2 years from reading that book and kind of pulling in a little bits and pieces of more into practice and thought life and, you know, how you put yourself to bed and how you wake yourself up. And it doesn't have, for me, being ritualistic and doing the same thing all the time drives me up a freaking wall. I can't stand it. I have to have different things. I have to have a slightly different. I can't get up at the same time.
Yeah.
I have to get up at slightly different times. And I have to allow myself that flexibility.
Yeah.
So doing that sameness for me drives me nuts. But if that's what you need is that militant, then I would do it if that's what's going to get you to the path that you want to take your journey on. But I don't know. That's like a focus thing for me.
Oh,
I don't want the cosmic throat punch. I came up with the tower again this week, and it's just going to be different this time. It's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. And that's a moral judgment, and it's a matter of perspective of whether something is bad or not.
Yeah.
Like having the food supplements go away. Yeah, it's going to be hard on people because even though they knew it was coming, number one, you're struggling because you knew about it and didn't do anything about it. You didn't prepare yourself. We had a flood 5 years ago that shut everybody down for about 2 weeks. You could not, even if the shenanigans for the all that rubbish in 2020 wasn't going on, we would have been stuck at home for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you weren't prepared for something like that, it's going to make it more challenging. And a lot of people, that had happened to them. When that did happen, I am not going to have a problem not leaving this place as long as I have water for about 6 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Might even be longer. So, you know, we can be prepared for something. I hope I never have to use any of that stuff. But it's there.
Yeah.
It's like insurance on your car or insurance on your dwelling or the chapel.
So when you're talking about that, what comes to mind for me is the whole prepper side. You know, I love the prepper side. It's not really about being a prepper. It's about being prepared.
Correct.
You know, at the end of the day, whatever material objects you have can be stripped from you. So what the skills are, what you got up here, what you can forage, how you can communicate, what you can adapt. If you can't be adaptable, if you can't recognize a plant as a way to keep yourself warm, if you can't recognize thermal mass energy as how it works, if you can't recognize how probiotics become probiotics, these are little, to me, they are basic areas. Well, welcome back, Susan. Welcome back. Good to have you back. If we're basically going into the preparedness of us, and for me it personally comes down to what we have up here. If we're stripped of everything else, okay, now you're bloody frozen. We have fun today. If you can't be calm in your mind, if you can't calculate properly, you can't analyze the scenarios correctly, you get put into situations where you can't overthink a situation. So what if Joe Blow didn't ring you back in the time that you expected? They might have something else going on in their life, right? So just get on with yours. Enjoy yours until they reach out to you next. Stop running around in your head, because by running around in your head with stories and overthinking, there's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. You have to be right in here and go, this is what's important. When you start finding what your values are, you start going, okay, well, I need to look at, okay, what do I need to keep this vessel going? Certain amount of warmth. If I get too cold, I need to get a hot water bottle and heat up certain areas of my body. Where do we lose the heat fastest? Head, feet, fingers, and kidneys. Keep your kidneys warm. Keep your feet warm, and then keep your head warm. These are the areas. The water that we drink, the body can only take so much hammering of polluted toxins, fluorides, different types of chemicals, keeping giardia out of your water, and all of these other products. Our bodies are built to be able to adapt to what is happening organically, not synthetically, not chemically produced synthetically. Most of the synthetics that they find mimic some form of organic. So when we put that into our minds, you want to drink a glass of water because you're thirsty and you just drink it down. Whoa, that's good, that's satisfying. Go back for another. But then when you go, okay, well, what's in that water? I'm drinking this much water, I'm putting it into my system, I'm feeling good, but I'm also feeling, what's going on? I'm getting a hit over here in this kidney, or I'm getting a hit over there in that one. So what's going on? So you start looking into what you're filtering through your filters, because all our organs work as a filter. So you start now taking time to consider yourself. You're considering your physical aspect of here. This is the vessel that you're in. How do you look after your hair? How do you look after your eyes? If you're gone without everything and you get a toothache, do you know what plants you need that will work both as an anesthetic as well as a numbing agent? Okay? I mean a totally numbing agent. Cloves. Can you get cloves naturally in your location? Well, if you can't, what is your natural plant that will produce the same energy? For me, we have a kawa plant, and when it's in season, we can pick a certain part of it. It tastes like pepper. It's absolutely beautiful. Add it to your food. When you chew on it, it's going to give you that anesthetic area. So you need to be aware of how to pull out a rotten tooth if you've got one. Be aware of how to heal your gums if you need to. It's not just your gums, it's your fingernails, it's your toenails. How many of our elder species suffer from ingrown toenail? If you don't look after your toenails now, that will be you in 10 years or sooner. I'm just being, it's
it's good. It's like really practical stuff, because I don't think that the ingrown thing is necessarily even for the elders. I think I have had so many people who are young people. I mean, young, in their 20s. It's like, what do you mean you're going to the doctor to have that removed? I was like, yeah, it happens all the time. And it's like, what are you wearing on your feet? So that could be part of it. But the interesting thing is that you're talking about knowing what the plant life is, and knowing what is good and for you or bad, or what could be used for this, that, or the other. There's a caveat to that, and Stone is very knowledgeable in these things. She's had a lot of training over the years, practical experience for this, so you can put yourself in great peril if you don't know what you're doing. So please do make sure that you have a great resource. And if you're not sure, go buy from the local medicine man, so to speak. Homeopath, naturopath. Naturopaths are really great. There are some states, though, I think, if you have a doctor of naturopathy, you can't touch people.
Yeah.
Here in Michigan, I don't think it's a problem. So you can't do Reiki or any kind of massage or reflexology, you physically cannot touch people. So I found that to be. What's the other one? The John Upledger did it. It's a craniosacral therapy. You have to actually physically touch the person's body to be able to feel the movement in the sutures. But the fire, that reminded me of the fire extinguisher. And if you have this knowledge of these things, you know, remember how to use them. So
Yeah.
Getting a book can be helpful, but are you really going to recognize that from a plant that looks very similar? You know, there's a lot of mimicry plants. Some of them are going to be very obvious that, yep, that's what that is, like a mullein plant. There's nothing that looks like that plant, at least not around in here. And remember how to use them. You know, you have that fire extinguisher. You had a fire. You're going to remember how to use the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for the day job that I have, it's mandatory training. It's something, some of the stuff is every year and some of it's every other year, but it's mandatory. So I know how to do CPR. I know how to do all the first aid stuff. So it's important for us to also know our limits, know who's available to maybe help us. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it, because it can be kind of a scary thing that if you are in that sort of a need, and making sure you have that supply, and that can give you that comfort. You know, if you don't have a first aid kit, I used to have one in my car and my house, and you know, when my son moved out, I gave them to him, and here I am sitting here with. But are you going to really? I have Band-Aids. I have Band-Aids. You know, so I'm kind of salving my conscience with that. So yeah. But
Welcome
anyway.
back, Susan. Yeah, well, when you're talking about the first aid kit, I'm okay. She's back upside down again. Oh my Jesus! All right, you're upside down, darling. I don't know what you did.
Jesus. I dream. It's like seriously effing with me. Like it's just trying to set me off, and I'm just going to remain calm.
Just remain calm.
I surrender. Where's my white flag? Wait a minute.
Just reverse whatever it was that you did earlier on, and you will land back on your feet, I'm sure. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so we're trying. when you land, look, when you land back on your feet, I'll bring you back in. Susan, you're driving me nuts, but oh shit, God, I love Susan. I think she's fantastic, mate. We've done a lot of work together. She's fucking awesome.
And I think what was the other thing that you were talking about?
Okay, when you're saying about the whole preparedness, it's like, okay, so if suddenly you're going to lose everything, you're going to come up with things that happen to your fingernails. You know, if you study what your fingernail tells you, because it communicates with you, it lets you know what your deficiencies are. If you look at your eyeballs in the mirror, they tell you what your deficiencies are. If there's too much jaundice, how it's affecting your kidneys and you know what your liver and the chemicals that are flowing through. So it'll tell you need to back off on the salt. You need to back off on the sugar. Try something different. Try more of a natural product. When you're talking about the first aid kit, it's okay. So here, ears. So you start off with the basics. Okay, your sight, your sound, your taste, your skin. Then you work off, okay, teeth, breathing, like your bronchial tubes, your heart rate, all these other areas. Then you work off how to suture. You work off gum disease and how to keep these teeth protected, because You really don't want somebody ripping a tooth out of your head because they're attached, the roots are attached to our nervous system. When you see how it all works out, I mean, if you have an ailment in some part of your body and you still manage to have the tooth at this time that's connected to it, you start tapping that tooth, you'll be able to help clear out. It's like the lymph nodes that go through our system. When you can tap those certain areas on your lymph nodes, because they go both male and female, don't matter what gender you are, and the animals as well, these meridian lines help us unblock the flow. Just do a tapping here or a tapping there. You know, when you do, I've got a couple of really good friends out there that do the emotional codes. And when you start working with them, they teach you how to tap these certain locations so you can feel that emotion flowing out. Most of the emotional baggage that we retain is not ours. And when you start dumping the junk, magic happens, okay? Everything that all that negativity starts to clear. You start seeing the sunshine coming through, but it's not coming from the exterior. It's coming from the interior. And you're cleaning out the rubbish that's not yours. I know that sounds wrong.
No, when you start using words like, yep, it's not coming from the exterior, it's coming from the interior. So mine is sometimes it's going to come from places you don't expect. And it's going to have feelings, maybe even smells. So it could be coming from the posterior.
Look,
I prefer the attic to the basement, if you catch my drift.
Okay, let's get real.
It's all good. It's get it out.
Okay, let's get real on this. And fasters out there will back me up on this. When you start taking responsibility for what you're putting in, you don't stink out the back end.
Yep.
You might fart a bit for a little bit, gassy, while your body adjusts, but the gas that you release does not have a toxic smell.
Yep. Well, that's true. Well, it doesn't stink. I'm sure sometimes it does, Stone. You got to be real with everybody.
It depends on the proteins. It depends on the fats that you're eating. All right. And this is very personal information, but here we go.
Please don't.
When you start watching what the foods you're eating, you'll be able to tell the smell that comes from what product. So if I eat garlic, I know when it's going to kick in and where it's going to come out.
When it's going to kick out.
But it's not like that because,
right.
I mean, I eat sunchokes, right? And if you know what a sunchoke does to you, you'll understand. But if you don't, I'm going to allow you to research it.
Yes, do your own research.
But we need to do this.
You come up with.
Do this. This is the whole thing. Our body is designed to produce certain chemical responses and reactions. When you've taken that rest for a few days and your stomach goes back to the right size it's meant to be, we're only meant to be eating a fist-size portion every day. Okay, this whole thing about eating 3 meals a day is rubbish. It's rubbish. It slows your brain down so much. 3 meals a day. Get up, have your breakfast. What is your breakfast? You break your fast, your window of fasting. When you are fasting, your body is resting. Your stomach is resting. Your enzymes, your chemicals are resting. So when they are resting, your stem cells are repairing. They are kicking out the junk. They are reproducing themselves and they are repairing you. And if you go further and further into it, they start repairing your telomeres. right?
So, you know what, and you can follow up with the whole telomeres thing. But it was thinking about because we had this discussion, and I don't remember where it was or whether it was, on or off. Where we were talking about. I think it was off because we were talking about the Tartarian buildings and how the fireplaces were not really fireplaces, that they are now saying because it's too common. You have the fireplaces there, and they think that they were etheric energy harvesting, and it was their food source. And what they're repurposed into churches and some of these magnificent buildings we have around the planet is actually healing centers where people would come in and do those healing tones, the frequency tones, and the bells were gotten rid of because those were part of that system as well. But one of the other things we talked about was the idea that those frequencies and the thing they didn't eat, because if you look at those old buildings, there was no bathroom, there was no toilet, there was nothing that to use. We call it the alimentary canal, right? From your mouth to your butthole. It just is it's the slide, man. And yeah, it's got kind of a circus that goes around in your little intestines, and it really your large intestine is kind of like get the moisture out. That's kind of what its job does, so it can exit the building. But the thing is that with the whole thing that made me kind of laugh is that I said, we were watching a movie. I had family over that Saturday, and lo and behold, I turn around and look, and it was the Coneheads movie with Dan Aykroyd. And his back he was supposed to be walking in the shower, and it was like there was no separation. There was just the solid bupkis with no separation. It was just a solid. He only had one giant cheek. And I guess the thing is like got me thinking, well, what about those Tartarian buildings? Are they trying to tell us something now in this really stupid movie? Because that would be the way to do it. So you would ignore it. You make fun of it. You make it silly. Ha ha ha. So is that kind of what people were like? Has the anatomy changed that much over the eons and millennia? I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, I did a time there. I did a stint where I tried to be a breatharian. So every time I got something happening in the body, I would just like breathe it in, find the location, attach that breath around it, bring it back up, release it. So I did the whole breatharianism. I did the thing is, these buggers out there turn around and they tell you that if you do this or that, that's it. You're gonna, you do it in moderation. You do it in knowing what the signs are. If you go too far, you're going to get dizzy. If you're not eating properly, you're going to feel it. If you're eating too much of something, you're going to feel it. All right, we have another guest coming in. Anything could happen. And I just want to announce that if you are coming in today's show to jump online, anything could happen. We've already had witness to that.
We have witnesses.
But I've put the link out there for those that know, and they can come in anytime. Good luck. So, yeah. It's if you like staring at the sun, you're going to go blind. But wait a minute. It actually helped me. It helped me clear out all this. It changed my type of vision. I was able to see these orbs clearer. Now, I'm not going to say, because this is no medical advice, I'm not going to say that this will work for you or anybody else out there, but I know what worked for me. But as soon as I was very cautious through every step that I took. This includes the fasting. As long as you are being cautious and you know yourself to a certain extreme, you're going to be fine. Anything goes wrong, you reach out and you get help straight away. That's all I can really say. And I just want to welcome Jeff. Welcome. You are live. We can't see you, but we can hear you. How are you doing? Now we can see you. Oh, I love that jumper. That's a really awesome jumper on you there, Jeff.
It's the same one you saw. It's the same one you saw on Wednesday.
That's right. Yeah, Jeff is a participant of Hearthfire Hangout. With people like him, that's what keeps us going. That's what keeps us ticking. So thank you, Jeff, for coming along and supporting us on this Roughshod Ramblings Spontaneous Combustion. Our first round table. I'm not sure if you know Auric Vibe. If you don't,
Yeah.
We haven't met directly, but we've seen each other on screen.
Very good, very good. We're just chatting in regards to whatever comes up, really. Whatever comes up, whatever goes out, whatever comes in.
That's my specialty. Okay.
Well, so what's your main focus right now, Jeff? That is a maybe, I don't know. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a concern, but is there something that is pressing that you find that is relevant?
Relevant. That's a good question. What would be considered relevant?
No, I'm asking you. What do you consider relevant?
Okay, let's see. There was an issue that came up recently with a few folks. Let's see where this might go. Just choosing something that came up recently. That's the only reason to go there. I was on Discord with a few friends a few hours ago. And an issue that came up, which is a meditation group, and an issue that came up was the folks who purport to be channeling beings from higher dimensions and where the information does not line up with what those beings would offer if they were. And I have various friends who send videos to my direct message box of their favorite channelers where it tends not to be harmonious with what they wanted to hear from me when they get feedback, where I'm honest with them and they wanted to hear that these things were resonant and that I was very harmonious with it. And I have, let's see, since we're on live chat, I have familiarity with what higher realm and dimensional beings would be and do and talk about in their own way, wouldn't be verbally. And the things that were being channeled were not in sync with what those beings would bring up. So that was a conversation I had a few hours ago with folks I know on Discord. So I don't know, maybe that's it. Maybe that's a place to take this. I don't know.
Going deeper into the conversation, because I wasn't there for the conversation. Were these beings you're talking about coming from AI Atlas, or were they just the beings that are coming in now with everything that's going on?
Oh, okay. In this particular, I can address that too, but in this particular case, they were beings that are around or very popular in the channeling community. Okay. Very well known in the channeling community, who say the things that everybody seems to want to hear in the channeling community. And those things I refer to as Star Wars. That's how I think of it. The things they bring up. It's if you're beyond the third and fourth dimensional plane into, say, the sixth dimensional plane, it's not all about revenge and hostilities and who can get over on who and who's going to put who into submission and who's going to put who into slavery. I mean, those are more third and fourth dimensional issues. So when they come into this plane, I mean, that's how humans got that way in the first place. Yeah. That they got it. Those themes came up, let's say, starting off maybe 1 million years ago on this planet. From the civilizations before View and Atlantis, where the beings coming in, it's like they in the third and fourth dimensions, those extremely low vibration issues come up, and then they were experimenting with humans back then and more recently, but when they're in the higher dimensions, it's not an issue. So when they channel those beings are not higher realm. Those beings are more third and fourth dimension. They've been around for a really long time, so they seem like they're higher dimension, higher realm, but they're not. Because in the higher realm, they're high frequency, and high frequency does not match up with we're going to enslave you, we're going to abuse you, we're going to go to war with you, we're going to get revenge on you, we're going to get over on you. That ain't higher dimensional way of being. It's just not how they are.
No.
So it's when I hear these things, I know perfectly well I'm not listening to somebody from the higher realms, because that's not what they do in the higher realms. Those beings have been around for millennia in the third and fourth dimension.
Yeah.
Doing the gladiator stuff, doing the galactic war nonsense. To me, that's nonsense, because they're always purporting to be from the higher dimensions, from the higher realms. They're always purporting to be. Oh, we're from the eighth dimension, the eighth density, 10th density. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, bullshit. No, you're not.
Yeah, it's like I've said in the past. I have this. It's almost a pet peeve. And when I hear these people doing the big talks and all the big walks and blah, 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 and they hit everybody with the word understanding, boom, anything they said has just gone out the window. It's like that magic but. So anything that comes after the but is now, oh, my screen went blank then. Is null and void. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Anything that you wrote before the but does not stand for anything. So it comes down to, when you use that word, it's like, do you actually know what you're saying about the situations? So when I take that back to the inner standing, because once we go inward and get a grasp of who we are and how we work and how we operate, how we communicate with ourselves, is a telltale sign of when we're going to be ready to communicate with the exterior and the interior and the dimensional beings. To me, we're all energy. You know, I've had these conversations with Jeff in the past, and whatever entity, as you guys know, it comes in, it's an energy form for me. It's an energy signature. We don't talk like mouth to mouth like we do here, but I hear them. I know when they're coming in for a communication. When people are talking about different dimensional beings and higher, I could never grasp the 2, 3, 5, 12 dimensions, because when I see it, there's dimensions within dimensions. When we look at ourselves as having parallel experiences, there's dimensions within dimensions in those parallel realities. So when someone, sorry, go on.
One thing that's a very basic aspect of what you're talking about, it's just another way of addressing how people perceive when it comes to these dimensions. And I've seen, from what I can tell, the scientists, the ones with all the doctorates and the ones that are going through all their experiments, as far as I tell, they're doing exactly the same thing, based upon how they report it. If you're busy trying to apply the laws of the matrix, if you're busy trying to apply the so-called all the rules of physicality, you're not going to get there. It's just not going to happen, because the realms don't. And when they see issues happening in the farther out constellations, and they say, that's not possible. How can that possibly happen? That's physical impossibility. And I'm thinking to myself, because you're so busy in your head applying all the known physical laws, you ain't going to grasp any of it. when I see them doing that, because the outer realms, if you try to apply the known physical laws as we understand them, it ain't going to work because it doesn't apply to them. You know, for one thing, the upper realm beings, if you move into a area of being corporeal versus non-corporeal, which a great many of those beings in the upper realms are, you might as well shred any sense of usual laws in the matrices that you're used to. You just might as well shred those laws because they don't apply to anything. It's like if you to give you anybody who might be listening here, to give them an idea. It's like, think in terms of the Twilight Zone when they had folks who were dabbling in other dimensions and wondered where they were, wondered what was happening to them, wondered how they could not find them, like a child wandering into another dimension under a bed. Why couldn't they find them? They're busy trying to apply laws of the matrix to how to even investigate. And if you're trying to apply those laws, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So you have to start off by realizing not every conscious is corporeal. They're not not all of them are. You don't have a body necessarily attached to the consciousness, not necessarily. And in the upper realms, in a lot of cases, you have conscious that doesn't require form and defining and boundaries. They don't necessarily require that. So if you don't require that, why the hell do you have to worry about where they are and where they're from?
Yeah.
So people say, well, they're from Andromeda. They're from this dimension, that nebula, and that quasar, and all that. But why do you have to pin them down to a particular one when they're not in an embodied consciousness? Why do they have to be embodied and put into a particular quadrant or a particular area, a particular pulsar? Why do you have to put them in a particular one if they're not embodied consciousness? They can be anywhere, literally. Okay. So how do you, if you're going to channel a being and that being is now going to have a name, why would they even need one? Well, if you're going to channel and say, oh, I'm from such and such, 34th million years in your future, how exactly did they establish that?
Yeah.
They don't have time out there in that realm. The time doesn't exist. How do they establish 34 million years in the future?
Well, what's time? Time is only relative to the space that you're in at that specific particular spot. You know, that's the frequency that you're in.
Well, it's actually more specific than that, Stone. Number one, it's a human concept, number one. And number two, time is relative to now.
Yep. And it can shift too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I had some guy, I think I saved the reel, where he was talking about what you perceive in the future changes the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that only happens in the now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a human construct, but it can be very, very useful. So if you don't like what's happening in your life, that's how you change it. But you have to be consistent with that thought pattern and that thought process and maintaining that particular frequency. If you wanted to adjust what happens in the future, it will change your past, but it's only going to happen in the now.
Well, you just said something very key to it, which is that you have to be consistent. You have to have consistent focus. You have consistent in what you're paying attention to, because if you are consistent enough, then what you're doing is not so much changing the past from future. What you're doing is changing an overall timeline. And in changing the timeline, all that is going to change. And in shifting the timeline, many parameters are going to change. So if you are being consistent, which is not easy to do, but if you are being really consistent, then you have the capacity to do that.
Yep, for sure. Time is a fun thing.
It's like when the orbs come in and they're communicating with me, it's like one thing that I've learned is it's the impression of thought. It's the impression of a feeling state. You know, and it's about knowing the emotions. When those light beings came in and they did their little gig around the room and stuff and showed me what they showed me, I was constantly analyzing, am I communicating with them? What are they, what's being said? Am I actually alive? Have I died? Am I having an out of body experiencing? My brain was going like tenfold trying to analyze what was going on in this space, because every time I go into an encounter with a different being, they have a different way of communicating with me. So we are that species that are able to communicate on a multidimensional level, and it's just being able to tune ourselves in to the right frequency enough. And 9 out of 10 times they don't communicate the way that we do. And it's like if I feel like a character, when I call them a character, I'm talking about entities, whatever, is leading me down a direction that is not comfortable, I'll go only so far. I want to know what's going on, but if you're going to put my welfare, my life, my experience in actual danger, then no, because I'm going to warn that to others. We're not here for ill will. When you take into consideration the true nature of who we truly are, that is the key communicational aspect to these other entities coming in and saying, hello, I want to communicate with you. You might not hear me straight away or feel me or sense me or any of them straight away, but I'll get to a point where I can yell at you and you might hear, hey, you, or you might hear your name, or you will get that impression and it will come through. So some of these things are done by impressions. You might start off by seeing shadows on the wall, communicating with you, letting you know out of your peripheral that something else is going on in your vicinity. And then the messages come in. Like Maya and myself and a few others, we'll see them out there and they'll flash us. And at first it's a sense of, oh, hi, I knew you were there. Thanks for the flash, and flashing back. And then after that flash that you see is a package of download. And it may take 5 seconds to unpack it and put it in the right place, depending on the levels of work that you've done with the specific energy that comes in. Right through to the whole night terror aspect of it. When I'm aware of the frequencies that are going on, like I'll get the vibrations, the bed will start to shake, and then I'll fall through the bed, and I know I'm falling. It's like, I can't breathe, and then all of a sudden I'm somewhere else. But it's a real physical experience stepping into the next realms. So when we sometimes, like when I went into one of my what you call night terrors, I call accessing dimensions. When I went into one of those experiences, this being that came in, I was unaware at the time why they were coming, but I knew they were coming because of the signs. So once in the state of communication with this tall white grey, I got, they were allowing me to ask them questions. If I knew that was coming, I would have had a stack of questions. But I didn't. I was put in a situation where I thought they were coming to talk to me, but it was the other way around. They wanted me to ask them. And it was like, okay, so from that experience, on the exterior of this, like in our 3D realm, what was being picked up on the recordings and on the devices was me having a night terror. So you could hear me making the expressions, the vocal expressions of being under attack. Okay, being under attack. And that's going to make anybody around you try to get you out of that feeling state, out of that making those noises, out of having that experience, literally, because they don't know what's going on with you. You don't know what's going on at the exterior until you hear it. When I stepped out of that, I mean, it was a good meeting with this being. It was good information. I did not feel threatened in any way. I'm very aware of the screen images that some of these other types of species play on us. This was not that. If it was, well, they really pulled a number on me. But at this point in time, they didn't do that. So moving on, it's like now I unpackage the downloads and the information, and any time I want to communicate with those beings, I just have to go back to that experience and step back into that, and they will reach out to me when they're able to come back in. You know, so the communication is not necessarily verbal. When these guys talk about their channeling this and that, okay, well, show me. Show me what your beings are showing you. What is legit for them, Jeff, may not be legit for us, because we are in a different, we've had every one of us has different levels of experiences. It almost feels slightly tailored, if you know what.
And a different frequency.
Yeah. So when we go, okay, well, you know, I'm here and I want to help over there, but I can't step in over here because of that. I had experience with watches. I believe you've had watches as well, Jeff. I believe Auric has. I'm just about to let somebody else in, so if somebody else wants to pick up the conversation. So is that how you were talking, Jeff? Is that what you were meaning? How, you know when, okay, some people are going to say for their experience, their dimension, that is the being that they're communicating with. My role is not to poo-poo their experience. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. It is to go, okay, that is their experience, and I hope they're getting the best from that. And if it shows that they're not, I'm absolutely happily going to stand up and going to turn around and say, hey, that's not quite right, you know. Welcome, Jay. Welcome to the group. We're having a round table. Your show was fantastic, just informing everybody else. Jay and Maya Starfire just had a really awesome show. Go and check that out sometime. It's really awesome. Jay, do you want to jump in and let them know where they can find it? And then we'll come back to Jeff. And I'm also letting in our lovely Jermaine from Hearthfire Hangout.
Yeah, sure.
Well, just one second. Welcome, Jermaine. You're live on camera. Jay's going to have a talkie, and then Jeff is, and then you can, and Aura can jump in whenever. So, Jay, would you like to share?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it took me a while to get in. I've never been used Restream before, and it wouldn't work on my normal browser, so I opened it into another browser on my phone, and it worked that time. So, yeah, I would have been here earlier.
All good, all good.
Yeah, I can't see everybody on the screen. I'll get used to this. Yeah, if anyone wants to find me, I'm on YouTube under J Skyrunner. I got some, like I did the show with Maya tonight, and thanks Stone Hobbit for coming by. So if anyone wants to check it out or anything else I got on there, just go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yep, absolutely. So, Jeff, do you want to? Do you need to finish off any of that? Side of the conversation, and then we'll move on to.
There were two things. Oh, okay. I guess she's going to be in and out. Connection issue, probably. Okay. So there were two things that stood out to me in listening to what you were describing. Now, I'm thinking in terms of how you make contact with beings, how they make contact with you. So, because I know you well, I know that this is how you go about it. I know that it won't be offensive. So there's two different things operating at the same time in what you do. One is that you're so intricately connected with and part of all these connections, all constantly, in so many different dimensions at the same time, so many different portals simultaneously, that between that and the sheer number of channels that you're in, that you're going to have a lot of different kind of beings with a lot of different intentionality and a lot of different purposes coming in from multi dimensions, coming from multi vortexes, and even from multiple portals. And it's going to result in a lot of a very varied experience. That's what I was taking in as you were saying it, because between the orbs, between the beings, between how they communicate, where we know that most of them only communicate through thought, and where they have a lot of different intentions because of not so much where they're from necessarily, but because of the nature of the species. And another aspect of how it occurs is through your DNA and through the DNA of anyone who's having contact, because how they choose their contact and how they go about the contact is through the DNA. There's always pre-birth planning in that, always previous experience that they have with you from other realms, other lives. There's always aspects of the DNA strand that will determine or sometimes influence how they're going to interact with you. So some of the beings just are inherently difficult, challenging, harassing, annoying, obnoxious. Some of them just are by their nature, like humans. Some of them, those are mostly fourth dimensional beings. Some of them are going to be very loving. Some of them are going to be inquisitive. Some of them are going to want to know about you. Some of them are going to want you to ask questions. All the various things that you were bringing up are because of the varied nature of those beings. So all of those things are involved. That's what I was reflecting on as you were saying it earlier. There's just the varied nature of all those beings, all the dimensions they're coming from, all the portals or the vortexes, just the reasons why they come through when they do. And, they can come through at any time because time is relative here, but it's not really an influence there.
Yeah.
So some of them, the only, as far as I can tell, night terrors is connected with three things. One is how they come in connected with your DNA strand. Two is what vortex or portal they're coming through and which dimension they're coming through. As far as I can tell, those are the three things that factors in the night terrors, because it's like, why would they do what they're doing? That's preordained. That happens long before they get there. There's no decisions to make. There's no evil intentions. That's just who they are, how they are, and what they manifest as they're coming in, because that's what was meant to happen. That's what I was reflecting on when I was listening to you.
It used to be just nighttime terrors, but I can actually get myself. We saw you, Jermaine. I can get myself in a situation where I can sit there and calmly, with my eyes open, now go into those states when I know that they're there. I've done it's like it's a energy field that we can tap into and we can travel through. We can travel along, because through this I've also done past life regressions. I didn't know what I was doing at the time when I first did it. I just was like sitting there talking to these people, and all of a sudden I saw them in another lifetime. I saw I saw basically what took them out. That was an era of my life when I was being nicknamed Death Angel, because I was there when I would have premonitions of death, and I would be there before it happened. I would try to stop an accident from happening, but I couldn't. The whole deja vu aspect, you can see it, you can experience, but you can't change it. I can see it, I know it's going to happen, I can be there, I can prepare for it, but I can't change it from happening. It's still going to happen. And so all of this is like, when these beings come to me and they're going to let me know, there's knockings on the walls, and it to me now it's about the frequency that they ring. It's like a phone number. When they're calling in, I pick up a different sense. There's a different feeling state, like the orbs that come in. It's okay, the orbs are here. But then when it's a specific shadow one, I've got a photograph of it. I can put that up later on. I'll add that into the Rumble send off. It's like it's a shadow. If my cat can see it come through the wall, and I can see, and the cat can see that we're both seeing, we know what's going on, and it flies past us, and through a doorway, it's letting me know that okay, there's something else coming. Now, in the early days, I used to think these dark shadow orbs were bad. But then the other plasma ones that come in a different dimension, the ones that everybody's starting to see out there in solid form now, are they can also mimic. They can go white, they can go translucent, and they cluster. Which, when I talk about a cluster, and Phil, there's a chap out in Auckland somewhere that have just had an experience last evening that reached out. They are seeing the same things that we saw in West Auckland. They are the orange plasma spheres that everybody's seeing. We sort of changed the label to it to luminous spheres. They look like flame, orange and red. They fly around. They can change colors, but they can change shape too. They've been taking in the information. If you look through history, you can see that they've been here on this planet longer than we have. Longer than me anyway. But when I look in the photos, you can see that there is a record of what we're seeing, and you've got to go, okay, is that an AI generated old ancient photo? You got to really do your research on this. Don't stop for one area. And those that come in and communicate, the only real positive thing I can give you from these beings is, if you don't feel it's in your best interest to either advance you in your knowledge aspect or physical aspect, don't go there. Don't go there. In some of my cases, I'm a bit more battle worthy because I've been doing this. I've had these beings coming and going 24/7. And so it's more like when they come in, what do you want? What do you want? What's the energy that you want? So these night terrors, when they come in, and the day terrors, accessing dimensions, come in, it's like they are now tapping into an energy that I had developed when I was younger through whatever trauma, whatever situation I was in. My brain was able to make that chemical. So when I see something, I put it down to a form of PTSD. When I see a certain something, it's going to create a certain chemical reaction. When that chemical reaction happens, that's letting me know that I'm open to having this experience come in. So
you were talking about the orange plasma spheres, and I know that the spheres that you're talking about too, that they're now different shapes and different colors. So really, to kind of like, put this out there too. This has been going on. I know there are reports through commercial airline pilots seeing some of these things, and they're, they like to denounce them as apparitions or some sort of atmospheric reflection or something like this. But I don't know if they're registering on radars, but it's definitely something that's being recorded and cataloged by the powers that be, if you will. But this is something that there is, and what you're describing, this more direct and personal contact that you're having, is kind of interesting, because now is there a worry that there are a possibility of these craft, and let's face it, some of those craft get up pretty high, then they're still going to affect the plasma, because that's ultimately what they say that the sun is. It's a plasma. It's not anything. It's not this hot burning ball of gas. It excites the atmosphere in certain ways when it emits certain things, and that's what heats up the air. That's what gives the part of our weather and whatnot. But what do you guys think as far as the impact? If maybe that's not the best word to use. with these beings, because it sounds like it's, again, the whole realm that we're in is making this energetic, resonant shift. Some of it sudden and some of it a little more gradual. How is this? They've always been there, like you said, but we're just now being able to interface with this aspect of this particular realm that we find ourselves in. Because I think
Well,
that
not
shift.
just beginning to at all.
Hmm.
We're not just beginning to do anything about any of that. It's not just beginning at all.
Well, I'm not saying it's beginning. I'm saying that we are beginning to see that this is starting to manifest. So, and it's what are you open to? How come Stone can see all these orbs and nobody else can, or very few people can? It's got to, and our lovely friend Aggie will talk about how his mother would be able to see beings and creatures that other people can't. It's just that wherever you're at, you know what I'm saying? It's wherever you're at that you're able to see these things. So who are these airline pilots are totally off that aspect. They're in a different space and place. So this whole environment that all of us are in this realm are now starting to see more of what people like Stone, who are more tuned into it, they are starting to see the shift. And they're not sitting at home in a lotus position doing the om. They're living their life, right? They're doing what they want to do, and just carrying on with taking out the garbage and getting their paycheck. So as far as that kind of thing, it's not that these things are beginning. It's that this whole realm that we're in, more individuals are becoming aware of what has been here always. Does that make sense?
Offer you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, I was gonna say what you said is absolutely true, and more people got to realize that we live in a realm, not crafts flying through space coming here. They're basically using portals to come in here, right?
Yeah.
You know, when we think of timelines, ours is here. It's not the past. It's beside us, like looking at a computer screen, but different pixels. And other beings and entities can come through the astral realm through different portals and pick each timeline that they want to go into. And a lot of it, we think of it as future or past, but it's timeline genocide. It's the timeline wars that's going on right now. In Stone Hobbit, she's connecting with these beings because she has aspects of her DNA that's working side by side in other timelines that already worked with these beings that are trying to connect with her here in this realm. Her innate DNA smart body is her remembering, right? Her innate DNA smart body's in this body and her other bodies and other timelines where she's working with, I'll just say extraterrestrial, but these are other beings that she's connected with and they want to connect with her, so that's why she's seeing them.
Well, there's one, I can offer you that there's one thing that I rarely hear from anybody so far. And this seems like a good time to introduce that. Okay, now here's what you know. What you know is that they're not verbal. They're communicating with you telepathically. Sometimes not even needing telepathy because of their ability to stream their consciousness to connect with you. Now you know that part. You also know that they're interdimensional. You know they're coming through vortexes. You know that part. You know that they're interdimensional beings. You know that part. Now, given that you know that, why not be able, I'm offering this to you, I don't know, rhetorically, as a playful question, whatever it turns into. I just have wondered about this. Why would you not be able, with those beings, in those moments, wherever they're coming from, why would you not be able to make a request? There's a lot of the activity and the described experience is of hostility, of negative experiences, of fighting with them in various ways, of having to defend yourself in various ways, things like that. That's a lot of the experience and activity that gets described. So if you have that going on with a higher dimensional being, someone coming into a portal or a vortex, and they're communicating telepathically or just through pure consciousness, why not make a request? Here's what I would do. If I was in your shoes, here's what I would do. And I pretty much never hear this come up. Beings coming through, whatever way they're coming through, whatever dimension they're coming through, whether they're coming through in your dreams, they're coming through a portal or vortex in front of you, in the sky, through your wall, whatever it is, however they're going about it. Why not make a request of them? Now, they are not in any position where they can't do this. If there's a feeling of dread, of apprehension, regarding any hostility, regarding any feeling of lacking of safety, any of that, why not ask them not to be hostile, not to create any situation that would cause you to be defensive? Why not ask them, since they're quite capable of it, they're shapeshifters, they're coming from another dimension, often multidimensional, why not ask them to be loving to you? Why not ask them to be peaceful, to be of service to you, to be supportive? Why not ask for that? How do you know they won't do it?
Yeah.
These are beings that are quite capable of it. Why not?
Yeah.
It's always about the struggle, the fight, the apprehension, trying to defend yourself, the injuries. Why not ask them not to? Why not?
Yeah. Well, I think it.
Why not?
I think it comes down to. Welcome again, Susan. It's nice to see you're up the right way this time. It's like, I think it gets to a point where, personally, none of that matters. We've built up our boundaries. When you have your boundaries set, so it's like in the early days when they called me and they yelled a certain name, I built up this boundary saying, look, if you're going to call me that name, I'm not going to respond. I have nothing good connected to that energy. I'm not going to react to it. But if you call me by this energy form, because it's all spell casting at the end of the day, I will react. So if they can't, you have to set your boundaries. Once you are aware that you do count for something, you protect yourself that much more through any energies coming in and trying to communicate with you. Jay, you're good with that? Protection.
Yeah, well, I'm just tapping into the Earth's Akashic records there. I call it tapping into the Earth's Akashic record in the sacred neutral point of view. Usually I don't know how to answer these unless I get information coming in real time. But when we're talking about entities, I'm seeing it as okay, for one thing, we're seeing them as orbs and shadows and like humanoid silhouettes and stuff, because they're not really here. They're coming through portals in this dimension, and we're seeing them as different forms of energy because they're different dimensional beings and they can't physically be here when they're coming through portals. And these are all access to the astral realm that's more real than here, where we have different portals to different places like deities, Arcturus.
Yeah.
Right. And I got some information on this. I got to think of where I was going with this. But when you talk about good ones or bad ones, right, there is, we'll say negatives that come here can do like any kind of a wrong messages or what we call as entity attachments. They can be spirits or what I'll just say extraterrestrial for now. And like the Pleiadians, and they'll show themselves and communicate telepathically, but they don't show themselves in physical form and come right out and do things for us, because they're not coming here because they don't want to be trapped here. You know what I mean? Because we're in a simulation off base reality, which was under quarantine for a long time. So when you think of the good guys coming through other dimensions, right now it's just energetically how we're connecting with them. They don't want to risk coming into our realm physically and getting trapped here. What I'm seeing is they're using some kind of a quantum computer to put their consciousness into, to go into our realm.
Yeah.
So when we think of the bad aliens that are here, people talk about the Greys, Draconians. They're not flying through space and coming here. They've been here. They were a part when our realm was first made. The way I'm seeing it is a bunch of different beings were invited to come here and play this Earth game, cosmic drama, I call it. But things got out of hand and we got locked down. So we have these beings that been here, even though time ain't real, but to us it could seem like 52 million years of this warring going on. You know what I mean? Within this realm. So a lot of those entities, they were here and never left. And a lot of the crafts that we got that we can see are them. Because what I was showing in a vision is when we actually see other dimensional beings that comes into our realm with crafts, we're not going to build a concept what they are, because to our eyes, it's not 3D. It's going to be something so insane that we're not going to know what we're looking at, right? So right now, it's mostly telepathically or energetic orbs and spheres that we're going to see to get the information for now. But I think what's going to happen is this realm's going to open up where they can actually physically bring their bodies into portals and come in here. Like they're working on different levels in, I call it the astral realms. Like there's our realm, there's all these different realms and dimensions and astral realms with portals where different beings can come here.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I think, because we say space ain't real, but I'm seeing outside this 13th dimensional construct that we're in, that there is space outside, and there is other worldly beings that were traveling through and found us, and we had like archonic beings inviting the Anunnaki here, and they kind of had a stronghold over us because they wanted to keep the system of domination and control. But what I'm seeing is the veil's thinning. That's why we're seeing this more. But I think it's up to us, once we resonate our own DNA vibration higher, we kind of bring down this realm, so we are accessing all realms. We can access all the other realms through our own DNAs to make better contact with them. Sorry, I just rambled. I get going sometimes.
No.
Where I'm going
Well,
with it.
this is what this is about. This is called Roughshod Ramblings, and
Yeah.
if you guys know me as you guys do, I cannot stay on topic. Okay, and this is the frequency. Yeah, this is the frequency about growth. Is like it. If you start in one location and throw everything at it, it's going to go around in full circle and come back to the start every time. You allow it go long enough, it'll come back. And that is an energy. To me, that is a sphere. When they come in, as you were saying, but when they come in and stuff, I've seen them come in through portals as orbs and then manifest into more solid form, absorbing the energies of their environment. And I've got footage of, they look like fae, they look like fairies coming out of these orbs. So, they're coming through as an energy form into, so these portals, there's different types of portals. Do you want to share a little bit about that? And then we'll move on to Susan and go around again.
Yeah, I'll just add to that and I'll let you guys talk. Yeah, there is, like, okay, because I usually astral travel and have OBEs almost every night. And the more I've been getting travel to astral realm, like I always say, it's more real than here. There's different sections. There's where the fairies are, the fae, and they do have portals that come right directly into this realm. They do come in physical because they're not what we call, like, I'll just say ETs for now. They were a part of the original Earth. Like they can open up. They have portals in their realm on the astral where they reside that they come out through, like mountains and in the woods, like they'll appear here, like they physically come in, but they have ways that they can get out, so a lot of people don't see them, right?
Yeah.
And there is other beings, like it's crazy because there's so much out there, right? Like you have the elementals that have their own realms in the astral that they physically live in that access here, and there's even like vampires and werewolves, and then we have, what I'm seeing is like a lot of these beings, I don't know what they are. Like we say ETs, but a lot of them are the archangels as well. And some of them are the Anunnaki, and some are archons. It's like a whole group out there. Like they wore ornaments themselves. Some turn good, some turn bad. Some play different roles and just different masks throughout what I'll say time, right? Because our history has been erased every so many hundred years and started over, right? So I don't know who these beings are. Like they'll show me as a Pleiadian, and next time it would be like Archangel Raziel, right?
Yeah.
People say in another life with us on another timeline, or I'll just say past life. It could have been one of the good faction of the Anunnaki. Just they're all kind of the same beings, right? And some of these negative beings are actually Pleiadian. Like there's just so much going on out there that we don't know.
Yeah.
But we do have access to the Fae and the fairies and the elementals. They're kind of pissed off at us.
Yeah, because they live here too. They live here
Yeah.
too, and you know, they're alive because we're alive. You know, we're all connected one way or another. We have connections to the Fae. We have connections to all the myths and the legends and the plants and we're all absolutely connected. And when we start thinking as a collective, then we're going to get some work done.
Yeah, it's like you could be a fairy, really. You know what I mean? And someone could be something else, because in these different realms in the astral side of here, beings can go. When I see it, they go to the northern lights, the aurora borealis.
Yeah.
They can send their consciousness there and wait to be incarnated into a baby here. There's a lot of souls there waiting to come here, and a lot of it is, that's why the word starseed comes from. Maybe it was a, you know what I mean? They went through a portal, got to that section of the astral realm, wanted to incarnate as a human that could have been an Arcturian, or a fairy, or a dragon. You know what I mean? There's just
or a dragon. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're getting close to having to wrap it up. But Susan, would you like to share anything? And yeah.
Oh, Jay, you'll probably find this interesting because I'm a descendant of the Tuatha and I'll start glowing sometimes. And when I was having issues with this narcissist 3 years ago, the fairies were actually popping up in my house, and they actually told on him a couple times. And I would hear this really hard pitch, and I'm starting to glow again.
Yeah.
And I said, who's talking to me when I got out of bed that morning? I said, if you're talking to me, you have to slow it down. And they just started, saying, it's going down today, with this really high pitched voice. And they were like, get your carrots and your guns. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I was actually seeing them. They're as tall as me. And they look more like the elves from Lord of the Rings. And I live in an old Victorian, which has a lot of really nice woodwork, and they hold on to the woodwork and peek around the door frame and say, are you okay? And they were, after everything went down, and they were, following me and talking to me. And it was nice to see them in the house, but I'm also a Lyran starseed, and I also have seen my dragon. I've seen myself shapeshift to a Lyran. My whole upper lip turns. I can send you a picture. And I'm actually a red dragon, but I think, and I shapeshifted that, and I got a picture where you can still see scales on my chest. And there's like Draco dimples on my forehead. But yeah, so I'm just giggling when you're talking, because I've had people send energy healing videos back because orbs are flying out of my hands, and I turned so white because I'm trying to get to that frequency where I'm pulling this golden and white light down from heaven, and it's beyond Reiki. What I'll call it Reiki because people might know what that means, but I usually say, you want to do my Famon alchemy, because that Jay Ares guy that the FBI used to call the freak, he recently passed, but I remember him doing a reading for me on Skype. And he was just giggling when he got on. He's like, Susan, you're so fey, you're what we call Famon. He's like, most humans are like 15% fey and 85% human. He said, you're the opposite. And I guess that's why ETs will come in and talk to me when I'm having clients in here. But I've got this whole room crystal gridded and under protection from the rest of my house, and they're allowed to come in. They're whatever, it's Lyran, Draco, whatever, comes in and talks to me as long as it wants to be friendly. And usually they just stand there and observe. Like my friend Danielle in town, she has this big lichen that was with her, and he's so tall, like the back of his haunches we're touching the ceiling, and I have 9-foot ceilings in here. I was like, hey, Danielle, who's this liking with you? And she's like, oh, I picked him up a long time ago. And I was like, okay, well, he's here. And I've had melanated ETs come in with a lady from, where's she from? British Columbia. She was part Latin, and then I think she was part indigenous too. But I'd never seen a melanated ET before. And he had freckles like stars. And it's cool because, like, in one side of my office, the ETs will come and stand there at the one window, and the other window, because it's like an octagon, the ghost will come in and talk to me. But some of the ghosts will just move all around the room. And especially if they're like a parent of the person. But the ETs usually just stand there. I even had one client with cancer. When he used to be cranial sacral therapist, but he was a teacher. And he said, when he knew he had cancer, because I was doing in-home visits, he says, Susan, you got to come early. So I hate the C word. It gets me really emotional. So I'm out in the vestibule after I set my table up to work on him. And I said, I asked him, is it okay if I ask my angels, because they're 2 blue ETs, to come in and help him in any way so that he can pass with the least painful way possible. And while I'm out there crying and praying and calling in, my people, he took a while to get on the table because he kept getting weaker. And he's like, Susan, let's just head up, put his face down. He's like, these 2 blue angels came in and they saw me struggling and they pushed me up on the table. And then they took off real quick because they didn't want me to see them. And I said, what did they look like? And he said, they had blue Superman suits on. So they look kind of different to everybody. But so they didn't look scary to him. But another lady who goes from Delaware to Colorado and was doing the 12-strand DNA activations. This was back in 2010 or something, maybe. When she came in the room to work on me, she's going, you got 2 ETs with you? I said, yeah, they're blue. I said, when I'm doing energy work, they get smaller, like my size, because one's pretty tall and one's my size. And she said, you're not scared? I said, no, they're my angels. I've seen them my entire life, but they look different to different people. And and even Mary Kay was like, you have 2 ETs that are sharing your life experience. She's like, they're connected to your root chakra. I'm like, they're not connected to my root chakra. They're my people that hang out with me. And they don't interfere. And they'll help people like they did my client. And there's just, and then I'm a Pisces too. So my world's kind of magical with weird things and ghosts and remote viewing. And then when I went to a advanced platform mediumship class, and I went with one of my friends that does that professionally, and she's like, oh, you're as good as me, just come. And then I get up on the stage on the 3rd one, and I'm connected to this fisherman, an Irish fisherman, and the instructor wanted to take it, and so did this other guy in the audience. And I'm like, okay. But I kept going like this. And when I was doing this, I'm standing on the stage, but I'm simultaneously on a pier on the west coast of Ireland at the Ring of Kerry where this fisherman was. And then the instructor ends up getting on the stage and he says, stop, you're remote viewing. And when he does that, I kept going, and this big see-through screen popped up in the middle of the stage. Nobody could see but me, and I saw the map and I saw the Ring of Kerry, so I knew exactly where I was because I lived in Ireland in 1984 during the Troubles. And I was like, oh, I know where I'm at. I know what road it is and everything. And he said that he stopped me and he says, you're remote viewing, you're not doing psychic mediumship. And I'm like, this is how I always see. But when I was doing this, I was bringing the salt air, like I could taste it stronger on my tongue and hear the bells, and it just kept bringing me closer. And apparently he used to be naval intelligence, and that was just another, oh yeah, you've been in the programs, you're doing classified stuff, and I'm going to stop you because I don't want the rest of the class to see this. It's just a whole lot of weird stuff like that going on in my life where I just get a lot of confirmations. I'm like, oh, it is true.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, they come in all right.
That's amazing.
They come in different
And
forms.
And on my birthday back in 2019, I was driving by, I was living in Delaware then. I drove by Brandywine Creek State Park because there's always a lot of sightings over there when I was a cop, but I didn't work up there, but I knew about them. So I just stuck my phone out the window and said, I want to see my star family for my birthday. And took a couple of pictures. And when I got home, there was some of those honeycomb craft in the clouds. You can see them. There was 4 of them. That was pretty cool. And I sent them to John D'Souza, and he's like, those are Anunnaki. I'm like, I don't know. Those are what the Indian blue people, they flew in Vimanas, and these are in the shape of Vimanas. So who is it? That's my blue angels, I guess.
I think we just got to be like, I feel like everybody has some form of experience, internal, external, whether they see orbs, spirits, whatever it is, they get some form of communication with some other entity that is there, whether it, pushes them through the day. Come on, you can do this. You've only got a couple of more hours to go. Then you can get home. When we first we get all the noise out of the head, we start going into the one voice. And then once we're in the one voice, it's like, okay, now what counts? The one voice or my voice? And then you start hearing the difference between your language and its language. And you're actually in contact with something else because you don't think that way. But then I have to, for me to analyze everything, I then step into, is this another avatar of myself? What is this? I'm constantly in this. What's going on? What's showing itself? Okay, see you, Jay. There, in and out. He'll be back. We're actually. Oh shit! I don't know where he went then. We're actually probably going to wrap it up pretty soon. So I just want to say thank you now to everybody who came along, and we've got to do this again. I like these in-depth, real conversations about the real experiences that we're having. From today, I picked up it's like it doesn't matter what you're communicating with. When we can start seeing, we know that there's dimensions, we know that there's realms, we know that all these beings have different abilities. And so, okay, we're playing table tennis here. Welcome and welcome and welcome and welcome and welcome again, Jay.
Yeah, I lost my connection.
Oh, we're still getting used to this whole connection as well. So, yeah.
One thing I would like to say, I would like to connect with Susan a little more, just because when she was talking, I got so many downloads that I'd like to discuss with her. It's just weird how certain people sometimes I talk to, like when she's talking, like actually her stuff, like seeing the elementals is very cool. I wish I could do that, but I was getting a lot of downloads, like some stuff on you, but I don't know. I'd just like to talk to you about it because it may help me too. Like I was seeing a lot of when you talk about the dragon,
I'm getting
I was picking up your dragon. Like I was picking up the dragon energy.
So I know they want to connect with you. So yeah, you don't have a problem.
You were here.
Open your mind to it.
See, sometimes we incarnate into these realms as a newer soul, but we had like some of us could have been here 1 million years ago, where a different faction of races were trying to control us, and that will be our truth. Remember, right? It might be different than Susan's, who was here, say, 52 million years ago in our times. Where, but I'm picking up with Susan. She's a magical being, like very, very magical. She's been here since the inception of this realm, like with the dragons. She was like one of the incarnated dragons here before the Electric Wars, and she's connected out the ass. That's what I'm gonna say. I picked up a lot of stuff on her connection. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, in the German programs, they were saying they called me Lixeldaten, the light soldier. They didn't know where I came from because my soul's so old.
Yeah.
There's one thing I picked up. I want to see if it makes sense to you. There was almost like another time where you were, I don't know what kind of being you were, but it was before this human DNA skin suit that you had, that you were actually working on energy centers and grids in Ireland. There's some kind of importance there for some reason. I don't know what it is.
I might be a reincarnation of Saint Bridget. That just really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, yeah.
And then when Mario did my astrological chart, he was so excited. He's like, you have the what was it, the thing that makes me a shaman, the thing in that I'm a wounded healer. I said, yeah, I know the wounded healer part.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys can connect after the group and come back in, and we're going to do this again. We're going to do this roundtable again. So, any final words? Each and every one, just sort of give your give your site a little promo and stuff. And Ulrich, would you like to jump in and say anything? And then we will close it up for the evening, and we will come back another time. This has been really awesome. I do appreciate each and every one of you for coming in. And thank you to everybody in the audience that's making it possible. Do give us both our channels or everybody's channel a like. And if we work as a network, if we work as a team, we're going to get our message out there. All right. It needs to, we are the leaders. We are the leaders. So we'll go around the table. We'll go Jay, Susan, Jeff, and then we'll end up with Ulrich and myself. So Jay.
Oh, I just want to say I'm always getting weird information coming all the time. I don't know how to put it out there, and I'm new to this as well, right? Besides just doing my healing stuff, I don't know how to put my information out there. But when I hear people like watch shows with you guys, I jump in the chat because it brings back my remembering. So if it weren't for listening to people like all of you, I wouldn't even know where to go with any of my own thoughts because it helps me connect the dots. So I appreciate that with people that do the shows and the people that's in the chat as well. That's all helps us come together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Do you want to you put your details in the chat so that it can be shared with everybody? Okay, so I'll put that down for everybody.
Okay, yeah, I'll.
All right, and thank you for coming, Susan.
Oh, thank.
My website with my herbal stuff is divineconnectionswithsusan.com, and then I have some services on there. That's for online. My in-person menu is a lot more evolved. And then I do have a YouTube that's Divine Connections with Susan. Some of my SSP podcasts are on there. Some of my weird orb videos are on there. And shoot, do I have some other shit stuff out there too, and some on TikTok, and then I'm on IG also.
All right, and thank you for that. And Jeff.
Well, the particular thing that I haven't expressed because it's just, everybody's been in there is, Susan, I've never come across your hybrid being so active before. It was just astonishing to watch how rapid your hybrid activity was in there. The sheer intensity of the pulsing glow, the sheer amount of activity that your hybrid was engaged in while you're sitting there. It was just, I never saw you do that before. And I've been with you since you were intensively dealing with whose activity like 3 years ago when you were talking more or less nonstop on that. And
that was meant to bring me down. And now you're seeing me doing what I was doing before all that nonsense. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah, because I literally started glowing and shape shifting before I met him, and he was sent to drag me back down.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'm getting to know you all over again, more or less.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I'm usually a happy-go-lucky person. I wasn't, I don't even like to think about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that you previously had that activity going on around you. I just didn't know.
He was sent. That's
watching it. It was just fascinating. It was like, damn, I didn't know you did that, Susan.
Yeah, when I was at ECETI, I saw my Lyran, and some of my clients have seen it. Like I was doing a massage, and I just started daydreaming, so it's going interdimensional a little bit. And my client looked up at me, and this was at the spa, not at my house, and she said, "You look like the most beautiful lion, but I'm not scared at all." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm freaking shape-shifting."
The sheer number of reincarnations you've done to come into this life and resolving the issues, the sheer number of prior simultaneous lives. Just found it remarkable to watch.
Yeah, that's good.
I've seen 3 of my former incarnations, but
Mhm.
I haven't. You're probably seeing more because I don't usually watch myself.
Yeah, quite. It's so rapid.
Yeah.
It
All
only
right.
lasts like 90 seconds.
Oh no, I've seen them last longer. I've seen you in a different states. I've seen you in different states, and they last longer than that. So anyway, I would like to say thank you to all our guests. Ulrich, would you like to say anything? Join in. Kick butt.
Yeah. Well, the one of the best ways to learn is to be quiet. Close the one mouth and open the 2 ears. So this has been really good. A good journey. Yeah, we definitely need to be doing this again. It's late here where I'm at, and I'm an early bird. And we did that little thing we call the time change. So it says 9:25, but it's really 10:25. So I will probably be waking up
Yes.
about 3 or 4 in the morning as usual. So it's gonna be a very quick exit.
You'll be fine.
So yeah, thanks everybody. It's been awesome. The incredible perspectives are always welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We've got other people wanting to come in, but we're about to close up. So thank you, everybody, again. And I look forward to the next time we have an open round table. I will send the links out to you if you're interested. Please give us all a like and a share and come up with your questions. And we will see you again. Thank you, everybody, for coming along, participating. So any last words? I'm about to close
Thank
it.
you very much.
Yep.
Come up with questions? I don't know about that.
Yeah, we'll say, hey, Jeff. It was nice to meet you, Jeff, too, as well.
You too, Jay. Interesting listening to you. There were so many things that I wanted to say to you, but there was just no time to do it.
It's the usual